Hi guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm just here to bring you a flip through of my completed journal here. We did do a bit of a process video just doing a couple of pages in here. So you have seen a couple of pages, but the rest of the journal obviously you haven't seen. So it's a soft cover journal. I really like the feel of the soft cover journals made using an envelope, and then it's been covered with this beautiful fabric. This is I mean, it's not really vintage. It's probably about 15, 20 years old. They were some cushions that I'd actually had in one of my old houses. And yeah, I've just cut them down, but I love this colour of this duck egg kind of blue. And then they've been, you know, collaged up with some lace trim all over, some other lace trim. This white is kind of vintage, but the ivory is not vintage. And then you've got some of this bridal lace, which again is not vintage. You've got one of my little hanging charms here made from those little stamp blocks, which there's a tutorial on my channel for. So that's just hung there with a bulb pin so you could move it. You know, I've tried it actually in various places. It looked quite nice everywhere, but I thought I would just put it there in the centre for this one. The closure is just a length of lace. Again, this is not vintage lace, but I just thought it went really nicely. But it's just literally wound around, so you can obviously, you know, remove it completely to the side. So going inside the journal, as you can see, it's stuffed full and, yep, turned out huge, like most of my journals do. So on the inside of the front cover, I've just put some of my memory lane paper there, which has been coffee dyed. So that's there. Then you've got this pocket here with an image here from a vintage book. Again, that's all been distress inked up. You've got some decoupage napkin there and some faux diamante trim and a bit of sort of grunged up lace down there. Then you've got one of those sentiments saying once upon a time up there in the corner with some more lace. And then just in that pocket, I just popped in some journaling cards. These are just from some of my printables. So all of those just go into that front pocket. Then on the facing page, I just did a little cluster here, again, just with some various bits and bobs. And this is on sort of stiffer coffee dyed page. This is not a tuck spot or anything. It's just a cluster there for decorative purposes. On the next page, I've got one of my little pockets, which I have got a tutorial for on my channel. I've got some lace down here, various lace and doily and things layered up. So this pocket, you've got three sort of pocket areas in there. You've got some doily at the background. So in there you've got just a little sort of what do you call these, file folder here. It hasn't got anything in it, but obviously you could pop something in there. So that goes in that one. Then this is just from some vintage magazine, and that's just backed onto some coffee dyed card, sorry. That goes in there. And then here, this is one of those painted magazine pages. So I just made a little flip type book, so you've got obviously journaling space on here, and again on the front that's just from some vintage magazine, and it's backed onto some of my handmade you know, book page, and then you've got some rough stamping, so it feels lovely as those painted magazine pages do, and it's all been grunged up and sort of inked up, so that just tucks in at the back. Then here you've got a cluster here. This is one of my fabric clusters, which I did a video of, oh, way back last summer, I think it was. And that's acting as a tuck spot there for this, which is a vintage postcard. It's just blank on the back, so you could obviously journal on there. I don't know how old it is, but yeah, I bought it in a sort of bundle of vintage postcards. So, it, you know, but I just thought colour-wise, it just looked really stunning against this journal. And then here you've just got one of my printables there of the vintage photographs. So that just tucks up there. Then going over the page here, you've got a belly band piece here, some lace trim and, you know, various bits there. And then tucked in, this is just like the fly sheet from a vintage book. Now, as you can see, it's got sort of edging here. So I assume that possibly this maybe had some sort of photograph mounted on there or something, because it looks like kind of a mount. But aside from that, it is plain and it is vintage. So I just thought fold that up and just pop that in here, just like a sort of, you know, belly band holding that. It's not very easy to do around the tripod, so I do apologise. It sort of slips in better without the tripod in the way. And then on the facing page, here's some plainer pages here for some journaling. Just popped a little couple of decorative pieces up there, little flower down here, and then you've got a doily and some sheet music. Again, a plainer page there. This is a vintage document, so that's like the back of the document, and this is obviously the front. It's been coffee dyed, it is the original. And then here I've just got a little flip out. This is just a decorative piece there, but you've got obviously room for journaling here and here, and then a butterfly there with some bling, and then this gorgeous lace trim down the bottom with a bit of bling down there. So really simple, this page, but I absolutely love how it turned out. Then on this page, you've got here a pocket. So inside that pocket, I just popped in a little, again, sort of flippy fold out, just of some coffee dyed paper like that. And you've just got a couple of things layered up on the front. So that just tucks into the pocket there. You've got another pocket here with this sort of printed, stamped postcard piece. So that's just got a little journaling card that goes in there. And then you've got some lace trim running down the side. And then here you've got some doily pieces. And then you've also got this little flippy piece here, which folds down for more journaling in there. So you've actually got a lot of journaling space in here, although it's heavily decorated. I would say there's quite a lot of journaling space on here. Here you've got some lace trim, you've got this gorgeous, this is one of my collage pages. It's been stitched around, it's the original, you know, from the masterboard as it were. And then you've got a vintage, sorry, not a vintage, one of my bookplate printables down there, saying memories with some brads. And then tucked in the side, you've just got a piece here, again, from one of my vintage publications, and I've just backed it onto the coffee dyed card. So that just goes in there like that. And then here you've got a pocket. It's got a tuck spot within that pocket, so I've just popped in one of my printables. And then you've got obviously some lace down here and things, and then tucked in the side again, another piece from the vintage publication, backed onto some coffee dyed card. And then this is again some plainer pages for journaling, and I've just paper clipped on, so you've got quite a, you know, embellished paper clip there, and that's holding my some of my fabric, or one of my fabric envelopes, which again I did a tutorial for. So this is quite stiff now, it feels kind of like paper, a bit like parchment paper actually, because it's been obviously Mod Podged and things. And then inside there's these vintage photographs. So these are genuine vintage photographs. I mean, they've got things scribbled on the back. It looks like they're from a place over here in the UK called the Isle of Wight. So they're just some kind of landscape, you know, view type photographs, but they're, you know, they're vintage photos. So they just pop into there. And then I just, obviously it's got some decoupage napkin and things, and that just clips onto that page. Now, because obviously it's quite a heavy bundle, what I've done is actually paper clipped it onto like the whole section there, like that. And then it's obviously, you know, a bit more robust to hold all of that. And then here you've got a little pocket. It's a double pocket, and I've got a flip here going on. So you've got the flip out piece here. You've got a pocket in here where I just popped a little journaling card, and then you've got some layered up pieces, little butterflies and things, some of my lady lockets, some lace trim down the side, and then in here as well you've got here one of my little fold out booklets with some journaling cards just there. So actually I'll put them in like that, so you've got one in each pocket. And then here on the front you've also got a belly band with a piece there tucked in like that. So I love how this looks. And this is some vintage piece there from my, you know, vintage publication as well. So, you know, lots of interesting things going on in there, and obviously some lace trim. So that just all tucks into that pocket. And then going over the page, this is the center of the signature. I've got this envelope which I did in a video, so that just flips open, and I left this blank for journaling. Tucked in here, this is again a piece from the vintage publication, and I've just backed it onto coffee dyed card. But yeah, so that's a vintage piece there, but it makes a really big, fantastic journaling card. So I loved how that looked. And then on this side, you've got, again, a pocket made with some of my handmade kind of book page paper, which again, I think I've done a tutorial on making this actual piece, I think we did. And then I've got a fabric ruffle down the side, and tucked in, this is a vintage photograph or postcard, photograph, I think. You have to excuse the scribble on the back. That was there when I bought this. I mean, it probably could be rubbed out because it's just with, you know, pencil, it looks like. But yeah, it's got that nice feel of a vintage photograph. So I thought that was quite nice to pop in there. And then going over the page, this is another one of those fabric clusters, which I did back in the summer. And I just made a little flippy pad. Again, just using some of that fly sheet type stuff from some vintage book. That just tucks in there. You've got some plain pages here for journaling. I've just like kind of decorated a couple of them up with some stuck on pieces, but they are just coffee dyed copy paper. And then here I've got a little tuck spot up there. I've got some lace trim and some bling down there. And that's just holding in this, which is obviously some vintage sheet music, which I thought was really nice. So I've just tucked that there. And then there's also this vintage postcard. This is from 1972. I'm trying to see. Oh, I can't pronounce that. But anyway, the postcard is from there. And it was posted to Devon. But I just thought, again, colour-wise, that went really nicely with the journal. So that just tucks in like that. Going over the page, you've got another little pocket piece here. You've got some ruffles, some lace, some various things. Again, I just took another piece from that vintage publication and backed it onto some coffee dyed cards. That just goes in there. Here, I've got a sort of belly band piece made like a sort of snippet roll. And some lace trim down there, and then you've just got this little fold out flippy piece there on some really quite grunged up coffee dyed paper. That just tucks in like that, and I thought the polka dots just went really well with that flower. And then going over the page here, you've got another sort of pocket there, bit of ruffle and, you know, butterfly and various layered up pieces on that pocket. And then just tucked in there, I've just got a couple of tags there made with some of my, again, handmade paper. Once upon a time there, some of my vintage domino printables and things. And it's just held together with a bulb pin and some lace trim at the top. That just all tucks into there. Just a little bit of scrap there stuck onto this page, and another one sort of here. Actually, I think I left that like a belly band, so you could tuck something in there. Some vintage sheet music, some doily. Then here I've just got a little altered paper clip there, holding on one of my specimen slides, which I did a video tutorial of these. So that's just literally clipped onto there. And again, I've just clipped it on sort of double because these are just copy page weight papers. So, oops, I didn't want to obviously clip sort of quite heavy embellishments onto just a thin copy page. So if you just put them together, it makes them a bit more robust, really. And then this one, I've just got this lovely pocket with a sort of flip down piece there, so you could journal on there. Beautiful decorative pieces on here, some fabric ruffle and a long piece of bling down the side. And that sort of hooks behind the ruffle, which keeps it in place. And then tucked in here, I just made a little fold out piece, again using some of that painted magazine page. I can't tell you how that feels. It just feels so soft. It makes it go really soft and really, oh, I just really love how those painted magazine pages feel. So I've just done a bit of stamping in the corner. Again, this is from that vintage publication, just layered up a couple of little bits there. And then opening it up, you've got some tracing paper pages and then some of my memory lane pages in there that have been coffee dyed. So you can just obviously journal on those, and obviously you can journal on here and here as well. And the back's plain, so you could journal on there. So I love how that turned out. That just tucks in. Then this, I think, was the page that we did together. So again, I've just got some lace trim here. I did this as a top loading pocket. Just again, popped one of those vintage publications onto some coffee dyed paper and tucked that up there. And then on the facing page, I've got some vintage ruffle. This is one of those pockets from my blue vintage kit. It's got some of this book plate from my printables there with some brads and things and some trim. And then I tucked in the pocket. We did this on a video. So it's just like a big journaling card now. and that just tucks in there, and obviously it just goes really nicely with the facing page, so that just goes in there like that. And then finally we're on the inside of the, you know, the back cover. So I've got this pocket up here, which again, I think we did this together on the video. So again, I just made a little sort of fold down flip piece here. And this has got, again, one of my little vintage, or sorry, book plates, printables. And then I've made like a belly band here. So I've tucked in a journaling card there. And this is some vintage, you know, publication pieces on the back. And this is some of my blue vintage kit stuff. So this journal is made predominantly using blue things from my blue vintage kit. And yeah, it just incorporates a few other things, but the bulk of it, I think, is using things from that kit. And then we made this pocket together on the video, and we just popped Happily Ever After on there with some doily like that. And obviously, you know, you've got the overhang of the fabric there. I mean, I really like that look, but I do want to point that out because it's not hemmed off or anything like that. So it's kind of thready, and I mean, I like that look. And to be honest, I wouldn't be able to hem it neatly even if I tried. But I do want to point that out. So, because I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. Then you've got another vintage postcard. Again, you know, this is blank on the back. I don't know what date this comes from because it was in that bundle, but you know, it is vintage. And again, I just thought colour-wise it went really nicely and added a really nice kind of feel to this. And then here, finally, I've just added one of my little fold-out, you know, flippy pieces, which I have got a tutorial on these. So again, when you unfold this, you've got lots of room for journaling. You can obviously turn it over and journal in here as well. So, you know, you really have got a lot of room on there for journaling. And then you fold it over and it all tucks in to this flap. Oops. Again, not that great around the tripod, but better when it's more accessible. So that's that piece. And again, I mean, you could obviously take this and glue it down onto a page or onto, you know, a journal of your own or something that you've made. Just got some lace and some bling, and that just, as I say, tucks into there. So, and that's it. Obviously the back cover is plain. So I hope you like this. Now, I have got a list of people who I'm kind of working my way down the list, you know, giving people first refusal, people who've requested journals and kits and things like that. So I will be obviously approaching those on the list first before I actually put this video live. So it may be that this journal is already sold. Obviously, if it is already sold, you know, the video will go up saying sold. But if it's available, obviously it will say for sale. But yeah, so I hope that you like the journal. I really love how it turned out myself. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys soon. Thanks then. Bye.